Hey folks, I'm Shay and this is How to Teach, a show about teaching board games. And I've been thinking a lot about the news lately. I imagine most of us have been, what with, the world. And while today's news is a fun mix of terrifying and infuriating, I don't want to talk about the content of the news. I actually want to talk about how it's presented. See, the news doesn't just jump into a story. They give you a headline. They give you a little tagline that tells you what it is you're about to get yourself into. And this is something I want you to utilize when teaching board games. Now, I touched on this a little bit in episode 2, but this extends beyond just the introduction. Now, to give you an example of what I'm talking about, let's bring out today's game. Middle-earth Quest is a wild game. It's not perfect, but I love it. See, here you're playing as either one of the heroes of Middle-earth, though not one of the ones you're thinking of, or you're playing as Sauron himself. As the heroes, you're trying to prevent Sauron from doing pretty much anything, while Gandalf learns about the rings and gets the movies started. As Sauron, you're trying to spread out influence, putting out monsters, sending out your very powerful minions, and trying to cause a lot of pain and devastation. And everyone has secret objectives. So, you've gotten your friends excited about the game. You know how to play. They want to learn. The biggest trick now is making sure they understand the rules, and that can be difficult if you jump into the teach like this. Okay, so the hero turn starts with the rest step. If you're in a haven, you can get all of your cards back. But if you're not in a haven, you only get your discard pile back and not your damage pile. Now, after you rest, you have to move up Sauron's lowest story marker. And if they're tied, you get to choose, but keep in mind that Sauron has his own secret goal, so you have to take that into consideration when making your choice. I've now talked about damage versus discard, haven locations versus non-haven locations, secret goals, and the story track, and you don't really even know what those are or why they're important. Yeah, I'm gonna get to it all eventually, but what I've done here is known as burying the lead. I've hidden something important under something a little bit more trivial. It makes sense to want to just go straight down the line like this, but without setting up headlines, your players are going to have a lot less traction to hold on to these rules. So, after introducing the game, I start off like this. So during the game, Sauron will take their turn, and then each hero player gets to take a turn. The hero turn has 4 steps. There's a rest and ambush, neither of which are going to happen early on in the game, so I'm going to get back to it. And then there's the travel step. This is a lot of what you're doing during the game. You move, then maybe fight a monster or encounter a perilous location, and then you explore, which is mostly just picking up these little scrolls. And you can keep doing the travel step until you want to stop or until you have to stop. And then lastly, at the end of your turn, you're going to encounter your location by drawing some encounter cards. So yes, there's a lot of information I just said, but by breaking it down and by holding up the reference guide on the back of the rulebook while I'm doing it, I've given my players the headlines of what their role is in the game. And now when I go back to each individual section, they're better equipped to fit the finer details into the bigger picture. Now, I know for some of you, this may seem kind of obvious, but I can't tell you how many rules explanations I've sat through where someone starts in on some specific detail and I can't see the forest for the trees. So, if you want your players to remember the rules the first time around, start at the top and work your way in. And that's it for this episode of How to Teach. I hope everyone is staying safe out there, and I will see you next time. Bye.